Well, hello everyone. I have a simple question for you today. Do you like challenges? Now, I will be honest, I do like to challenge myself. Most of you know I'm a distance runner and I run basically for the health benefits, for the fitness of it. But I've also always liked to personally challenge myself. When I was younger and faster, it was all about trying to run a certain time, trying to beat or finish in a certain place, medals, trophies, those type of things. That's kind of why I did it when I was younger. As I've gotten older, I'm no longer running in the top three or top five of most races, so I don't really race anymore. But I do like the challenge. When I run, to give you a hint, I do not wear headphones. I think part of the challenge of running is the mental challenge. Not having headphones on makes my mind have to think of everything I'm doing. When I run my 7.5 miles a day, it's about an hour and 10 minutes. It's an hour and 5, hour and 10 minutes, where I have to think about what I'm doing. I'm 55 years old. My knees hurt. My hips hurt. My body hurts. Everybody asks me what's the best part of running. I always say being finished. But it's that challenge of doing that. Races I've done since I've gotten older, since I'm no longer fast, I kind of run, races like marathons or half marathons, things that are a physical challenge. In my racing days, I've been on relay races that ran around the island of Oahu. I've done some trail half marathons, and trail running's a whole different beast of road running. And I mean, the last trail half I did, I think it was 2017. I did three that year, and the last one you went up and down the mountain twice. So you imagine running and on trails and running up and down a mountain. But those challenges, once I completed those, I felt that sense of accomplishment that, hey, I pushed my body to do something and I was able to do it. Today, we're going to talk about our faith and the challenges that we face. We're going to read from James chapter 1, verses 2 through 8. And I'm going to read this for you now. James chapter 1, verses 2 through 8. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. The person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double minded and unstable in all they do. I love James. It's a short book in the Bible, 5 chapters. James was the brother of Jesus. And he's writing, and I mean, the chapter titles in James talks about genuine religion, genuine faith, genuine wisdom. And I think he's pretty straightforward and to the point. And we have to understand when James talks here, he basically says when we face trials, not if. So we already know we're going to face trials. And that when we face trials in our faith, kind of like the challenges I mentioned running, the sense of accomplishment when I was able to complete a challenge and just know I did something that I didn't expect or I knew was going to be tough to do. Well, our faith is going to face challenges too in the world around us, in the advice we get from friends and people. So it says when we face many trials of any kind, we could even say going through this pandemic is a trial, not only for our sanities of being shut in, but it's a challenge to our faith. We're going to start meeting again on June 7th, but that'll be 12 weeks between when we last met and when we meet again. And the challenge of staying strong in your faith when we weren't able to come together weekly and encourage and support each other. But it says when we are able to face these challenges and produces perseverance, that then the finished work would mean our faith is mature and our faith is complete. So without the challenges to our faith would never become mature, would never be complete. Do you feel more or better when you accept a challenge and complete it, or when things are smooth sailing. I think most of us get that sense of accomplishment when we're able to overcome a challenge and reach a goal, rather than when everything just goes the way we expected and that way. So our faith will always face challenges, and those challenges is what produces our perseverance, which helps our faith mature. And then this passage talks about wisdom. It says that if we lack wisdom, we should ask God for, because God will give it to us in abundance. And when we think about wisdom, that's how do we act in situations like now in this pandemic? How do we act when we are around people, when we face these challenges and perseverance? But one of the key things, if you ask for that wisdom, this passage says God will give it to you. But when he gives you that wisdom, you can't doubt it. So when we talk about God's word, where we get our wisdom, if we doubt God's word, then are we not doubting God's wisdom? And when we get to that point where we're doubting God's word, it talks about then we are like a wave on the sea. And waves on the sea, they're controlled by gravity, wind, the tides. They're basically being tossed about. And when we doubt the wisdom that God gives us in his words, then our life too will be tossed about. We'll be indecisive. We'll be like a flag blowing in the wind or a tree where we're not solid in our faith. And we need to be careful, depending where you live, who you interact with, the challenges the world throws at you. If you're not strong in that faith, if your faith hasn't matured, you're going to go with the flow. You're going to go with the suggestions of someone whose beliefs aren't the same as yours, or who may think religion and church is stupid and try to talk you out of it and encourage you to go somewhere else. We need to be careful, because this passage says anyone who allows themselves to be tossed around, that they're double-minded and they're unstable in all that they do. So if we're going to have that firm foundation, that strength that comes from God's wisdom and his word, we need to understand we are going to face trials. If you want to call this pandemic a trial to your faith, the sanity of being shut in, understanding that God will give us the wisdom if we are willing to ask for it, and not doubt the wisdom he's given us. God's word tells us how to handle these different situations that we are in. So understand the challenges, when you accomplish them, your faith grows stronger, it becomes more mature, it becomes more complete, and it produces the perseverance that we need. I hope when we are able to gather again, that people will be able to share how God's faith has shown them through what we've been through these last few months. Maybe you can share in the comments on Facebook that where your faith has grown stronger through this perseverance that we're going through. I would love to be able to read and see what people are thinking on how they have grown stronger in their faith because of the trials that we are going through. May the Lord continue to give you strength and wisdom, and may you not waver like the waves of the sea, but continue to have a strong foundation, and may God be glorified. Looking forward to seeing all of you again on June 7th. Until then, be safe and take care.